can, right?
Totally.
Bye, Sudha.
Bye, Emmanuel.
Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Emmanuel. He never corrects me. I'm just going to drop off.
Hey, how are you?
Yes.
Hi.
I have
Hi.
to drop off. I'm sorry, but I will catch up on the recording later. Okay, bye, guys.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. It just
No,
has been a crazy
fine.
crazy day.
Okay, no problem. Bye.
Yeah, so please tell us like updates from CES. We're like excited to hear.
Well, I mean, I think the main thing about CES was everything AI. So everybody in there was promoting their version of AI. Everything you know, from a consumer electronic standpoint, from little gadgets to autonomous robots that clean your pool, to you know, headsets, to cars. Everything had an AI tint to it. The but there was not a lot of purpose. In other words, everybody is throwing the AI buzzword, what I feel, and there are a few few applications that I think make some sense. One of those applications, I would say, is that was by Oshkosh Corporation. They make military vehicles, they make fire trucks, they make airport gates, and the application was for an autonomous baggage handler system, which is, I remember actually, said that Sudha left, but as she's in a autonomous vehicle, one of the applications as we were thinking about autonomous vehicles is how can you do high level of autonomy in a confined space, and such as an airport, and had a very good conversation with the people who were running that particular product, and it's still in the prototype phase, and I think the the main purpose is, okay, can you do an autonomous vehicle to deliver your luggage, and can you reduce the workforce, so that you don't have a driver driving around, and you have an autonomous vehicle that can do that and carries the the luggage cart. Now, every piece of luggage that you have is typically scanned, and it's loaded, unloaded, and so there is a certain level of autonomy that can be generated in an airport situation, and that could improve the delivery of your luggage. If you ever flown into Boston, usually it takes a long time to get your luggage, but that's because it's Boston. But I'm sure you know, having so I saw that was a good you know, a good application. They still need to interface that with a vision system to see what they're carrying, making sure that they're you know, they could potentially count the pieces of luggage, they potentially scan the luggage carts, and so I think there are a lot of integration for a lot of, I think, potential for very specific autonomous vehicles that are purpose specific. Yes, there are also all the big car makers and tier ones and suppliers. They all talk about, you know, autonomous vehicles as being the way of a future, and then anywhere in between, kind of supporting lidar systems, supporting chipsets, edge devices on that, you know, for autonomous vehicles. So there is a there is definitely a buzz, you know, more of a buzzword that is the AI, and I would say in terms of AI and autonomous vehicles, I think there are some specific applications which are, I think, make makes sense. And it just like, to me, as a student of AI, just trying to understand what are people saying, is that, does that create a real benefit to the user, or it just like a marketing word? And I think with the consumer electronics space, you need to get into the market and you need to sell. And so sometimes I think the AI is used more just to sell, and then in the back end, maybe an Excel spreadsheet that is as a lookup table. But once again, in other cases, it's really more real. But then it's also, I think, the ecosystem behind, in terms of the chipset, the sensors, sensor fusion. So some of those advances, I think those are also good. So that was kind of like a very brief high level overview. I don't know if some of that makes sense, um, and I've attended CES for many years, as a walking around, or as a exhibitor of a small company, exhibitor of a large company. I think the trends it's kind of are always there, and it just like it's there's always something new, but also we'll see if next year, whatever they say this year, it's actually, people actually do it. So I think it's always you take all the innovation with a grain of salt, and then you see if everybody brings a lot of promises, and then you go back the following year and see if those promises actually are met. And so that's always the exciting thing to see, and also to follow up. So there's a lot of hype, and on many different sectors, and so that's there is a lot of there's one actually Italian company I talked to. It's electric vehicles, which is using AI to optimize electric vehicles battery usage. So you start to see more advancement from, on a software side, to using AI to to make things more efficient. So that's also something that you see more and more people looking into that. Is that so? It's a brief, but just wanted to see if that any of that has any relevance to what you're looking for.
Wow, it's so crazy when you talk about the luggage stuff. Right now, in terms of tracking my luggage, I just have a bunch of air tags that I just throw into every piece of luggage of mine when I travel. So it's cool to see that they're thinking of AI as like an optimizing way. It's just an example of what I've been doing until they optimize my travel luggage.
Yeah, no, and I do travel a fair amount. Matter of fact, I'm at the airport right now, and I just left my luggage. But I think there are. So I mean, yeah, the holy grail, for instance, an autonomous vehicle is that one day you just get into. I mean, you can still do that right now. You get into a car, and the car takes you wherever you want to go, and it's seamless. I think we should all strive to get to that point. At the same time, to me, in order to prove that technology efficiently, is there are other use cases. Another example is John Deere is using electric tractors and starting to look at the autonomous vehicles for the agricultural industry because now they can integrate not only vision system to see where they're going, but also to monitor the soil, to monitor are the crops growing, not growing, and so on and so forth. So I think, but once again, and that's a case in which you have a very quote unquote safe environment. And it's not, I mean, it is regulated, but I mean, it's you don't have somebody potentially pedestrian can jump in the middle of it. Or maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But so I think, to me, I like to find those use cases that are a step forward and they're real, and it could be real today, tomorrow, and have a certain sense that is a widespread efficiency. So if I go to an airport and I drop my luggage and I get back on the other side, I would like to get my luggage back, ideally intact. And then, you know, to me, it makes a difference if it gets there in within 5-10 minutes versus 45 an hour later, right? And so if I have a meeting afterwards, so to me that has a real impact to my day-to-day activity. You know, if I have to wait 2 hours or an hour to get my luggage versus it takes me 10 minutes and it's reliable and it's you know, to me that has a real benefit to today's traveler, and there are a lot of people traveling, you know, so I think that's that's something I could really benefit from. Combination of a vision system, autonomous vehicles, AI, and tracking, and hopefully somebody's doing it and people are experimenting. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's so great.
Manuel, did you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead, Suresh.
Manuel, did you specifically come across any systems for indoor gardening, indoor farming, or did it catch your eye, or there's
There
nothing
are a
like
lot,
this?
a lot of lawnmowers, a lot of lawnmowers from U.S. company, Chinese company, Indian companies. To everybody has a lawnmower, an autonomous lawnmower that is the equivalent of your Roomba, but to cut grass. Right. A lot of pool cleaners, you know, that have big displays. So, and it's becoming, for that standpoint, it's becoming almost like a commodity. So that's a reason why I think it just they have a lot of Me Too's. I mean, and so now take a level above, in which is like, okay, now I'm gonna tell you the the health of your lawn. I'm gonna reseed it, do all other things. I think I didn't see any of that. I've seen just like a lawnmower just to cut the grass. But I mean, I think in the future, I would say companies like a John Deere that have bigger budget, bigger pockets, bigger vision, that's what they're going, is like to have an integrated system that is, granted, maybe it's a bigger machine, but it since you have already a vision system, use part of the vision system to detect the health of the crop, to tell the health of the soil, may take some measurements, and then use that to do something else. I've talked to John Deere, and they have that's kind of where they're going, but it's not readily available in the market at the moment. But that's that would be kind of for the agricultural system. That's where they're going.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in terms of also like the way we, like, you know, a lot of the government in terms of the United States, like the subsidies that go towards farming and agriculture. I can imagine they would want to see that all those subsidies being utilized by like AI, in the sense that these tractors become more efficient because they can sense like the way things are working in the crops. So that's a really interesting
And that's a thing. For instance, John Deere caters to the to agricultural businesses, and for that, you know, knowing what the crop is doing, it's money, right? Knowing
Right,
if you need
exactly.
to seed now versus in a week is money.
Right.
You know, so there is a way. Somehow, hopefully, they have done the return on investment. Buy this tractor, and now it tells me when I need to seed, and now my crop percentage growth is going to be better. Then it's money, right? So I think that's why some of those bigger players are moving in that direction.
Yeah, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I remember, not to like, you know, only talk about agriculture, but it just reminds me of this Economist article I read where we China may be the world's largest pork supplier, but we exclusively supply all of our soybeans to China for their pork supply. So essentially, like in this case, like I can see just when you say just John Deere, it's money for them to know when, like, you know, the crops are ready to be harvested, how it just trickles down towards just the general global market in that way. So it's interesting when you speak about like that. I don't think I saw things like that at NeurIPS, but I definitely saw a lot of interesting ways they're framing recruitment for young engineers now. Before it seemed like they were just trying to entice them with all their software engineering purposes and their capabilities in terms of like the jobs that they offer. But now it's a lot more AI oriented. And even a company that doesn't really have robotics has like a robot in their booth trying to get people to come there and then talk about AI with them. So it was really interesting where in Europe, I just see like the trend of the way the companies also present themselves. Like even companies like Citadel, you know, that are in finance, where they're really with like talking about like AI capabilities, talking about how they can help sponsor with PhDs that kind of are in the AI realm. So it's interesting how you're seeing one end of the market, and then in Europe, I'm seeing like towards the beginning of the market and all the projects and all the presentations, it's more now about like how to utilize the data versus like getting the person who can work with the data, because they kind of imply that they're going to automate it. So what they really want are people who can manage it. So so it's when you say it that way, that's like what I saw on Europe's on that end. So I see like the through line from one conference to the next. A lot of the projects, like for mine, it was like how to deal with limited data sets, and a lot of people like came over and talked to me about it because that's really the issue of like how they fine tune their data and how they like curate it. So it was like so when you talk about CES and how what you saw there, it's like I see the other end of it, and so it's interesting. Does anyone here have any more questions? Manuel, that was great. Do you guys have any more questions?
Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me a quick note. But thank you sorry for coming in late.
No, thank you.
Feel free to reach out at any time. And thank you for listening to me for a couple of minutes. And I'm gonna check out and see if my luggage is gonna get back to me at one point. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Yeah.
Have a good day.